Jonathan, and I'm with Gowalla, and our company's had a lot of different iterations over the years. And I guess the first years and years ago, and you may be, hey, Joel Bush, he's on my top 5 people to know in Austin. If you don't know Joel Bush, the guy walking in right now who I'm not embarrassing at all, go introduce yourself to Joel Bush. Seriously. And when we're done, first thing, don't get a t-shirt, go talk to Joel. So we were, you may be able to tell if you've ever used our little service that it's very design oriented, and it has it's very design specific and has a particular look and feel to it. And if you've been with us very long, you realize that we get impatient and we redesign the thing every 3 or 4 months. And that's because we started out as a company that just did design work for clients like Samsung and Microsoft and Nokia. And a few years back, we found ourselves making some games for a tiny little Nokia phone. I mean, like when the screen was like the size of your thumb, it was like this little beer-related app. I think you refilled your beer or something like that. But this is long before iPhone or anything like that. It's probably the very first Palm phone was out at the time, and we started scratching our heads thinking about mobile development. But then a friend of ours, Sean Parker, came to us and was like, "I've got this idea. You guys are working on these side projects, and you can make this into a game for Facebook." And we were like, what are you talking about, Facebook? This is several years back, and there's no games on Facebook. And he's like, just trust me, there's going to be games on Facebook. And if you don't know Sean Parker is Justin Timberlake from the social networking movies. So I'm pretty sure that's Sean's main claim to fame now, is that Justin Timberlake portrayed him in life, not that he was a co-founder of Facebook. So we started working on this project and actually wound up making one of the very first games that ever was introduced on Facebook platform. It's called PackRat. And PackRat took a round of funding, and PackRat is monetized. It's done really well. And after a couple of years of looking at PackRat and looking at the numbers, you're doing your analytics, we realized, wow, we have a good community here, and the game's doing well. But realistically, the quality of life for these people playing our game, they're spending a lot of time in front of the computer. And that's not really what we intended to do with this game. It was just kind of something to do, and a fun little thing. There had been no Mafia Wars, no Farmville. We all understand now, like, what a time suck the games on Facebook are, I guess. I hope nobody's watching this at home that plays PackRat. But we really didn't, you don't make these games thinking, oh, it's going to be this massive time suck for these parents or anything like that. So we were like, well, we're going to do something else. We're going to keep PackRat, but we're going to take some of the things we've learned from PackRat about social sharing and try to make it into something that's more mobile. And at that point, iPhone had come out. And so our CEO, Josh Williams, he had an epiphany one day while he was in Lake Tahoe, trying to figure out a way that he could share that moment, this literal mountaintop experience, with his dad back home in South Lake, which is right up by the airport in DFW. And so he came home, and he did a couple of quick sketches and got together with our CTO, Scott Raymond, and they wound up building a prototype of Gowalla in about a week. This idea that you could use the location information that your phone has, particularly smartphones, but these days most phones, at this point, 3 years later, most phones have location information in them, to use that location information to be able to pinpoint where you are roughly and show you where your friends are nearby and what cool things are going on around you, where are some interesting spots you might want to go have a drink, or an event you might want to go to, something like that. So fast forward 3 years, and Gowalla is this multi-platform thing that we have millions of users in every country and province around the world. And there's a lot of people in this space at this point, but it's been a real interesting ride for us to get here. And part of that ride was at some point realizing that Dallas-Fort Worth, where pretty much all of us had grown up, and that's why we were in Dallas-Fort Worth, that's where we'd lived all our whole lives. That it was not where we needed to grow our startup, and we had spent a lot of time in Austin for South by Southwest Interactive, and I think this year marked our 5th year of being one of the Tier 2 sponsors at South by, and it's been a great involvement for us, and we've spent a ton of time in the city, and so we had this propensity towards the idea of wanting to move to Austin. And we had a sit down. It's been about 2.5 years ago. We had a sit down with our small little company. At that point, we had 8 people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And most of those people were like myself. They had, or not most, but I think the majority of those people were people like myself who were married and had kids. And so we all sat down at work right before South by that year, and we were like, okay, we're this time when we go to Austin, don't think of it as South by and we're staying at the Driscoll and we're going to all our favorite places. Think of it as look at it through the eyes of we're going to move to Austin. And which is honestly, like, if you're truthful with yourself, South by, it has nothing to do with Austin, Texas, like, at all, as far as like the culture of Austin. It's totally out of hand. There's way too many people here. It's impossible to get anywhere during South by. While at the same time, South by is amazing, and I'm so glad it's in Austin. It's just once you step outside of 6th Street and the Convention Center, Austin is this amazing, wonderful other thing. So we decided to make that move, and I'm sure the other questions will get us maybe more in the specifics of that. But yeah, we did that 2.5 years ago. We moved our company down. We now have 32 people here and in the Austin area, and our offices are real close to Whole Foods on 5th and Lamar, and or just off 5th and Lamar. And I couldn't be more stoked to be here. Like Jacqueline said, I'm always an advocate for startups in Austin. I think Austin's an excellent place, not just for startups, but for anybody to live.